All right, let's talk about getting what you want. You know the drill, right? We're always told to add more stuff to our lives, more habits, more hustle, a longer to-do list. But what if the real secret to hitting your goals isn't about adding anything at all? What if it's about subtracting? Today, we're diving into a principle that, honestly, flips that whole idea completely on its head. Okay, so before we jump into the solution, we've got to talk about the problem. And I think we've all been there. It's what I call the overwhelm trap. You know that feeling, just completely buried under the weight of your own ambitions. Does that sound familiar at all? I mean, think about it. You start the year, you've got this huge vision, this perfect to-do list, and then just a few weeks in, you feel more drained than you do driven. If that's hitting home for you, trust me, you are definitely not alone. And this slide, wow, it just captures that disconnect perfectly, doesn't it? On one side, you have the promise, clarity, success, but the reality? Yeah, it's more like overwhelm and total burnout. We're sold this idea that more is better, but what we actually find is that more is just, well, more. And those vision boards, they just end up gathering dust while our goals stay right where they were. So, if that whole traditional approach just isn't cutting it, what's the alternative? Well, it means we have to look at the entire problem from a completely different angle, basically upside down. And that's where something called the inversion principle comes in. Okay, so what is it? At its core, the idea is actually pretty simple, but it's also really profound. Instead of constantly chasing after all the things you want to add to your life, you focus on strategically removing what you don't want. It's not about piling more on top. It's about clearing a path so you can actually move forward. This quote really gets to the heart of it all. Seriously, think about a sculptor with a big block of marble. How do they create a masterpiece? They don't add anything. They chip away all the stone they don't need. And clarity, it works the exact same way. It's often found in what you're willing to remove. Okay, this all sounds great, right? But how do we actually do it? How do we put this into practice? Well, it all starts with this really powerful exercise. You have to identify and then eliminate your anti-goals. These are the things that are actively, right now, working against your success and your happiness. Now, this is going to require a pretty big shift in how you think. So for a second, I want you to just forget about what you want to achieve. Instead, let's get brutally honest here. Ask yourself, what absolutely depletes my energy? What are the activities, the people, the habits that just leave you feeling completely and totally drained? And here are some of the classic culprits. I bet some of these will sound familiar. That constant buzzing from your phone's notifications. That one colleague, you know the one I'm talking about, the energy vampire, whose complaints just suck all the optimism out of you. Or how about those meetings that absolutely could have been an email, or those commitments you only said yes to because you felt guilty? Look, we all have them. Just naming them is the first huge step to getting your focus back. So the process itself is a really simple 3-step game plan. First, you ask, what's draining me? Get that list together. Second, you define your anti-goals. Turn those drains into clear statements, like, my anti-goal is to not check emails after 7 p.m. And then, here's the most important part. You act. You have to actually, systematically subtract these things from your life. And this is where it all comes together. Because when you start subtracting, something really powerful starts to happen. And this isn't just about feeling a little less stressed out. Nope. This is about creating the perfect conditions for a genuine breakthrough. And it's all thanks to this cool concept called the vacuum effect. And I want you to think of this almost like a law of nature, something that applies to our lives just as much as it does to, physics. So think about it like this. When you start clearing out all that clutter, all those bad habits, those draining commitments you have, you're not just creating an empty space. You're creating intentional space for the positive. This is the big payoff. You've heard the saying, nature abhors a vacuum, right? Well, it's true for your life too. When you remove the stuff that's holding you back, you create the space, and better things just naturally rush in to fill that void. We're talking more energy, new opportunities, and a much deeper focus on what actually matters to you. All right, so how can you start this, right now, today? Let's make it super simple. I just want you to focus on one little number, the number 7. Okay, here is your 7-day challenge. For the next week, I want you to pick just one of your anti-goals and eliminate it. Just one. Maybe it's that you stop complaining for a week, or you stop hitting the snooze button. Whatever it is, get rid of it for 7 days and just watch what happens. Pay attention to the ripple effect it has in your energy, your mood, your focus. So we'll leave you with this final thought. We always think success is about what you're willing to do, but so often it's actually about what you're willing to give up. So maybe the most important question you can ask yourself isn't, what should I add to my life? But rather, what will I eliminate to succeed?